Well, if you've been on LinkedIn recently or ever, you've probably encountered several posts that follow a fairly similar pattern. I was going about my day, I faced a challenging situation, I recovered from it. Here's the moral of the story. When it comes to creating and posting content on LinkedIn, the platform's reach is both a blessing for the content creator, of course, and a problem for those wanting to see something different and interesting on their feed. How do we make LinkedIn work for us as a collective, get the jobs we are meant to find, and add value not just for ourselves, but for the many people who make up our network?
Welcome to Small Talk with RainKraft, where we're clearly not afraid of addressing the issue that everyone's thinking about but not voicing out loud. We're talking today about LinkedIn. While we won't get into the algorithm itself and why prioritizing ads over networks was probably a mistake, we will discuss how best to use the platform to benefit us and the people in our network. Who's we? I'm Subha.
And I'm Hasita, and between us, we are known to spend enough time on LinkedIn to have a thing or two to say about it. So, when it comes to social media, there's a theory. Now, this theory isn't grounded in any numbers, but anyone who spent enough time on social media, guilty as charged, knows what I'm talking about. The theory goes that the collective benefit on any social media platform begins to inch closer to the most acceptable or the most controversial insight shared on that platform. In other words, we tend towards the content that we strongly agree or strongly disagree with.
This probably explains why my LinkedIn feed is flush with life altering stories this week, complaints and rants the next one, and food related euphemisms the week after. It seems to me as though people quickly tend to get onto the wagon of the sort of content that is trending that week.
And this is precisely where the issue with the social media algorithm really begins to show. Because people want to reach as many people as possible and go viral, they tend to post more of the stuff that's already working and less time thinking about what really needs to be said. And that, I think, is the first problem to solve if we wish to make a better use of LinkedIn. Do not, and I repeat, please do not post something because there's a content calendar to be followed. It is better to post one good thing a week than seven average insights every single day.
But Hasita, as an entrepreneur out there trying to find good business, wouldn't that take away from my reach?
That's a great question, Subha. And yes, in the short term, absolutely. But over time, I think it makes your network richer as well because the people who follow you are genuinely interested in what you have to say. And in that sense, they probably even look forward to hearing from you now. Well, let me share a secret here. Earlier this year, I made the mistake of accepting connection requests from people I didn't know at all, even when it came with no invitation message. I think I was like many of us right now, looking for some movement in a stagnant time period. And well, I spent all of last month just unfollowing these people. I dare say many people are doing this now, unfollowing people at scale to avoid seeing content that doesn't help them. Moreover, when we post and respond to content that can be, in all fairness considered average, we end up limiting our own social perspective and reach as well.
That's true. And spam not just the feed, but also the inbox. So, bottom line, do not post something unless it is really a conclusion that people cannot come to themselves. That's only the beginning. We also need to start following more of the people we do want to hear from, right?
Of course. And the best way to find these people is to follow a few with good standing in the industry to begin with. For marketing, I could recommend Hila Segal and Mark Ritson. And what happens when you start engaging with these people's content is that you begin to see more of the same. You begin to see posts that these people have left comments on, or you get to read good comments on other posts that are relevant to this network, and thus end up finding more people who actually know what they're talking about. And before you know it, you have a solid list of 10 people who you actually look forward to hearing from every day.
But Hasita, what if I want to be that person? How do I build my network of influence on LinkedIn? Because the fact is that influence gets jobs and jobs pay money. So I don't want to avoid posting just because some people in my network may not want to hear from me.
Hmm, you make a valid point there. But then the question also is, do we want to grow or are we looking for networking opportunities only? And both are valid desires to have, right? It just helps to know what we really want. For example, when someone posts great content that is insightful and they do this consistently over a period of time, their network is likely to appreciate this. And when the next opportunity comes along, these people automatically come to mind. In general, too, social media can be a great brand awareness vehicle. And brands that use it well tend to achieve a good top of mind recall. This applies to personal branding as well. The unpopular golden rule of content marketing applies here. If it isn't growing steadily, if the growth curve looks like a person having heart issues, it's probably not going to help you in the long run.
So, a common mistake we make on social media is assuming that reach or the number of people we can connect with trumps the quality of the conversation. However, human beings are the same the world over, and a small network that is strong, focused, and high quality always trumps a broad network in which we don't know 90% of the people involved. Very much like our personal relationships and networks.
So far, we've discussed reach, the quality of posting, and why it is better to build a small network that is good than an average network that is huge. LinkedIn, though, is not all bad. When used well, it is a powerful space to find genuine opportunities, grow with a mentor, or even just build a strong reputation for yourself.
For our action time today, let's discuss some of the best practices to follow on LinkedIn. This segment addresses everything that a first time LinkedIn user needs to know, but there are also pointers in here for even the most active of the lot. First, how do you go about setting up a profile? And I mean not just adding a picture. And aside, please add a picture, but actually setting up a profile. Some of the pointers from our previous episode, what is really wrong with so many resumes, could come in handy here. So give that a listen.
The right headline also matters. And while I wouldn't recommend really stuffing it with too many titles, clearly specifying what you do helps more headhunters and clients find you. Copywriter, content marketing specialist, digital marketing manager, executive coach, chief financial officer. These are all great headlines and also words that people probably search for.
Then we have the section on past work experience, certifications, etc. For freshers, it is good to add all of these qualifications here. But as you gain experience and begin to specialize in your field, retain only those that are considered valuable in your industry. The same goes for skills and endorsement section as well. As you gain more experience, keep the relevant ones and remove the rest. I frankly don't recall the last time I've read anyone's endorsements given or received in any amount of detail.
Now for the summary. A good summary should be no longer than one scroll in length. And we also need to remember that most people access these platforms on a mobile device, right? I would actually recommend writing and rewriting a good summary before posting it online. And also, probably you could revise it every year as your new year goal because the summary needs to be concise, needs to be punchy, and someone reading it should immediately understand who you really are.
I agree with that. And that's why I think the summary could also be in the first person. And that's something I get asked quite a bit. I think that's the one little spot on LinkedIn where you can personalize it and really make it about you. So a first person summary makes sense. Then, if you're actively looking for a job, you can turn that setting on for your profile too. Typically, only recruiters who have access to a company hiring page can see this. So no one at your company needs to know. This is also a wonderful feature for freelancers and small agencies to work with.
LinkedIn also shows us a roundup of the relevant opportunities that are currently available on the Jobs tab on our profile. While applying to them, especially if using the Easy Apply feature on LinkedIn, I would definitely send a small note to the job poster mentioning why I'm interested and good for the job in question. This way, we avoid getting lost in a sea of applications, and it's nice to see a friendly note from time to time.
And those who are very serious about making LinkedIn their portfolio, always consider what sort of content you post and share or even like, because the content we hit the like button on is visible to everyone in our network. So, liking, sharing, and commenting on polarizing views, especially in an argumentative tone, is never a good idea. If you have a strong viewpoint, it's okay to put that across respectfully while keeping an open mind to other viewpoints as well.
In other words, behave on LinkedIn as we would in the real world. With that, we come to the end of yet another episode of Small Talk with Raincraft. And at the risk of repeating myself here, let us please send a note with our next connection request.
And on that cautiously optimistic note, this is Small Talk with Raincraft signing off.
Thank you so much for listening to us today. Was the episode useful? Did you take something away from it? Perhaps a new insight? Or do you think we could do better? Please send us a voice note at speakpipe.com/raincraft or email us at connect@raincraft.in and share your experience with us. Small Talk with Raincraft is now available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and everywhere else that you possibly get your podcast dose from. So please subscribe to receive notifications about the next episode. See you later, alligator. Wait, am I allowed to say that?